Hey everyone, welcome to the Eagles Postgame Show presented by Rico. I'm Marisa Pilla. I'm joined alongside Fran Duffy and Ike Reese. And there's a lot to talk about with this game, a 25-20 win over the New England Patriots. But first, Ike.
As customary, victory! Woo!
There's a little bit of relief at the end of that victory, too, right?
Oh, my goodness.
A little bit of relief.
There's all type of emotion involved in that victory. I didn't know.
Emphasis on the woo.
Yeah,
emphasis on the woo. But obviously a victorious day for the Eagles. We'll dive into the game. It wasn't pretty, much like I saw around the National Football League today. A lot of bad offense, a lot of bad defense. That's what happens when you don't play a lot in the preseason games, but you sacrifice sort of execution for health. And you got to this game with all your players healthy, and I think that's going to bode well for us moving forward. We got the W, and we got things we need to work on.
You made a point that it's not just the Eagles here. Around the NFL today, it was a little bit of a messy day on both sides of the football for a lot of teams. And honestly, I reflect back to last year. Remember that game out in Detroit? That was not the prettiest win on the Eagles' schedule when you go back and look at that, right? So I think when you look at this game overall, you get out of this game with a win. That's important. You're going up against a good team, a great defense that showed up here today. It's important to come out of this with a W.
Yes, a win is a win. There is a collective sigh of relief across all of South Philadelphia, I'm sure, across all Eagles fans, because it doesn't matter if it is a pretty win, an ugly loss, because it matters the same at the end of the day in the points and the wins column. So to start off this season with a win when expectations were so high, there are a lot of fans out there who might be a little nervous. What would you tell them specifically as to this is no reason to panic?
Oh, I would just simply say it's game number one. It's week one of the season. If you just take a look around the league, look at Thursday night, the defending champion, Kansas City Chiefs against Detroit. That game didn't look like it was run smoothly. A lot of mishaps, a lot of botched plays. You're going to get that. I think the league is, and I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying it's where the league is at nowadays. Yep. These guys don't play a ton in the preseason, and so you don't necessarily get a chance to knock the rust off to get ready for the opening game. Really, this is their preseason. Although the games start and the coaches and players have to sort of balance that, the games matter, and I'm not going to sit here and act as if the play or the results on the field is irrelevant, because that's not the case. They have a lot to work on. They got a short week to get it done, but you got the W. And I think what we can take solace in is that the Eagles probably played B-, C+ game. They didn't play anywhere near their A game. They'll tell you that they didn't play anywhere near their A game. On the road, hostile environment. That crowd was juiced up today for obvious reasons. Number 12 was being honored up there in New England. Give them credit for playing well, but give the Eagles credit also for fighting through that and coming away with a W.
Yeah, you mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football, and that's a team that played all of their players in the preseason, right? Patrick Mahomes and all those guys, they played the entire first half of their third preseason game. So I think ultimately when you look at this Eagles team coming out of the gate, yes, it was not the prettiest win, but that said, when I think back to some of the best teams in this franchise's history, look over the last 10, 15, 20 years, including the two teams that went to the Super Bowl in the last half decade, both those teams were very resilient, and I thought this team showed a lot of resiliency today. Yes, you didn't come out, you didn't play your best game on offense, you didn't play your best game on defense, but you find a way to win. I think that's an important quality to have for a team that has the aspirations that this one does.
That's what good teams do. They always find a way to win, even when your leaders, Jalen Hurts, aren't playing well up to the caliber or expectations everyone thought about heading into this game. Good teams find a way to win. They did that a lot on the back of Jake Elliott with a lot of field goals. I want to bring up the first drive of this game because the Eagles looked so good, specifically Kenny Gainwell. There were 14 plays total in that first drive. Gainwell had 8 carries. He had 12 total for the game. That means over 2/3 of his entire carries came in the first drive of the first quarter. Why didn't the run game keep building off of that great success they had?
Well, I think the Patriots made adjustments. Give the Eagles credit. We had one of the best offensive lines in football. They came out and ran the ball well with Kenny G behind that offensive line. He did a great job going north and south, getting downhill. Jalen, whenever he needed to throw the ball, was dumping the ball off to the backs, out of the backfield. And I think that's because the Patriots came in with the game plan of, we're not going to let anything beat us over the top. And if you got two safeties deep helping out over Devontae and A.J. Brown, there's a light box there that says we should run the ball against this box. That's what the Eagles were able to do. Then you got to give the Patriots credit for making some adjustments out there. Then they started to play well on defense, and we couldn't keep the running game going.
And I think a big part of that as well was the weather, right? We were sitting there, we were watching, and it was a downpour early on in that game. So neither team was really having any kind of success throwing the football. We saw some errant throws from Jalen Hurts and from Mac Jones. So I think the rushing attack was really successful early. As New England started to clamp down on that, as Ike said, changing some of those looks, I think that kind of took that away, and the Eagles felt like they could try and spread things out and beat them through the air.
So the New England Patriots made adjustments because they had to, because they were getting just torn apart with the Eagles' run game. What adjustments should have the Eagles made to answer those New England adjustments?
Well, I think in the first half, Fran touched on the weather. It sometimes can be a little difficult out there throwing the football. We didn't attempt a lot of throws down the field. Again, I think New England's defensive game plan was to keep the big plays off of them as best as possible. So it forces Jalen to read stuff underneath. There were some underneath throws that he was taking. And then New England came up and made the tackles. If there was one phase of the game that I thought would show up for New England today, it was their defense. You know, Bill Belichick is one of the best defensive minds to ever walk the sidelines of the NFL, so you knew they would have something. Here's another thing I didn't see a lot from us today. The run game with the quarterback. Now, we had some in there sprinkled, but it wasn't as effective in the first half running the football there. And I think a lot of that has to go with New England sometimes using a five-man front where they bring the extra backer up there, and it's sometimes a quasi-spy, and it can kind of deter Jalen, who's reading whether or not to throw the ball or run the ball, from what he wants to do. I saw way too many plays where Jalen kept the ball and didn't have anywhere to run, and he pretty much just went down.
You know, something we talked about this week on Eagles Game Plan was what Bill Belichick's plan would be for Jalen Hurts. And a big part of that is their dime package, where you have 6 defensive backs on the field. That's a lot of speed that you have to contend with if you're Jalen Hurts. Now, what are the things they do? Again, 11 guys on the field. If 6 of them are DBs, how are you going to constitute those remaining 5 defenders? I think when you look at New England, a big part of that was their big bodies up front. It wasn't always going to be, 4 defensive linemen and a linebacker. A lot of times they'd have 5 big bodies on the field, and now you've got a lot of beef up front, and then you have all that speed rallying to the football and trying to cover from sideline to sideline. That can be tough to kind of wander through and navigate through if you're Jalen Hurts deciding, am I going to scramble and run? Am I going to scramble and throw? Who's able to uncover? So I think they were able to kind of confuse Jalen Hurts at times. I'm excited to go back and watch the film because some of that stuff can be tough to decipher when we're watching on TV.
Everybody's trying to find an answer for Jalen Hurts. If you found one, I mean, you probably struck gold in this league, because he is so difficult to stop because, as you said, not only does he have great vision down the field, but he's also just so smart and he knows when to run. Today, it looked like New England came as close as maybe anybody really has recently of having an answer for Jalen Hurts. How does Hurts and the offense take this experience with New England going forward and adjusting?
I think you pivot in what you're doing in the game, right? They start throwing the ball more in the second half. I thought the offense from a passing game standpoint opened up in that third and fourth quarter where Jalen was able to get some throws downfield to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. But when Jalen is able to surprise you with the run game, then I think that's when he's at his best. When it's in situations where they can anticipate he's probably going to run, or they want to make him run the ball, similar to what Chicago was able to do last year in that game, then it becomes a little bit more difficult because Jalen is as good of a runner as he is. He's not the electric runner that a Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields is. He's more of a guy that's going to surprise you with his speed and when he gets out on the edges. And here's the other thing with him. He at times wants to throw the ball down the field. And so I thought today some of his runs came as last result. This is what I have to do, and now we're going to try to make something happen.
Yeah, and going back to your question, Marisa, I think the big thing that the Eagles can do, walking away from this game, we're going to lean into what we do best. What is it that we can do best on offense and on defense? And that just happens to marry up with the fact that they're playing on Thursday Night Football this week, right? Because that's what you're typically doing as a team. Hey, we got a short week. We don't have a ton of time to game plan. You got a little bit of that done last week and the week before getting ready for Minnesota. But really, when you go onto a short week, we're going to go into our early installs. We're going to say this is what we do well on both sides. That's what we're going to lean into here on a short week of practice.
And we're also going to hear now from Darius Slay, who is heading to the podium right now.
gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out. You're gonna miss out.
We waiting for these guys.
Huh?
We waiting for them.
I can hear you now, Lane.
All right, there's no media there just yet. You could hear Slay saying, "Don't miss out." Well, people are waiting. We're waiting to hear from Slay, so we need people to be there to ask him some questions. And if you have a question, actually, for Ike, there's a new segment called Ask Ike, presented by Ponla Hockey. You can throw your comments down in the comments section, and we'll throw them up to
So
Ike.
there'll be a lot of questions today.
Yeah. So just ask Ike Rico a question. Comment on the show's social media posts, and this man right here will answer them for you.
Best of my ability.
To the best of your ability.
I'm
That's all we
excited
can
about-
ask.
I'm
Ike.
excited about new segments and then the new ones where Ike gets cut off.
Actually, Slay is ready, so let's go check it.
I want you your eyes laid up when you saw that ball lifted up in the air.
Oh man, it was great. I saw that thing. I said, "Ooh, it's tip. Yes, let me go get that." And of course, when I saw the green grass, I knew I was gonna go get in that end zone for sure. For sure. Got the speed of Speedy Gonzalez.
Were you surprised that Mac Jones didn't really seem to give too much of an effort to bring you down on that play? Were you surprised at all by that?
Well, he did. He tried to cut me off. I just cut back on him. So quarterbacks don't really too much practice in tackling. So he tried to make a tackle. I made a play, cut back, and scored. But he always give effort. I've been seeing that on film every time he throw a pick. Got to run down and give effort. So he's a hell of a player. He had a great game today, man. Besides that one play, he missed some throws, but he was on the point today.
It looks like you almost had a second one,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That one probably went back, I guess.
Yeah, man. I should have made that play, man. Honestly, I was like, okay. I tapped the ball. I just try to cuff it, you know what I'm saying? So, but I got to make that play, man. I'm used to making those, so that could have got us off the field. That could have stopped some points and some shift of momentum. So I got to make that play.
Slay, how would you grade the defense today?
We got the dub, of course. That's what it always matters. But as a defense, no, it's definitely me being the captain of this defense. We got to go out there and put out better tape. You know what I'm saying? But we got to just go in there and create our mistakes and shit like that. So overall, man, we know we got the dub. That's what it's all about. But as a defense, I know me as being a leader, and I know these leaders that's on this defense. They feel the same way that we got to go out there and execute better because we better than that. But got to give props to that team, man. They came out with great adjustments too, making plays. Them guys are making plays over there as well. So, but we better than that, and we got to go put out better tape than that.
On the flip side of that, you have 5 new starters, I guess, on defense, new D coordinator. I mean, is it going to be a process until you get this defense where you want it to be?
Oh, no, it's no process. That's why we got great leaders. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we go take it week by week, day by day. But we got great leaders on the defense, man. We know how to go out there and work, definitely during practice. We just got to go out there and and look ourselves in the mirror and just try to get the shit right.
I know there was a lot, made coming into the game about Matt Patricia's knowledge of what the Patriots like to do.
Yeah.
How much did that actually kind of play out on the field and maybe be beneficial to you in some ways today?
It's been great, him being around this building for so long, man. He understands. He understands about this team, so he already knew the team would never back down, up or down, however it was. So he was sending that message inside, and he came with some game plan, gave us good knowledge on Mac Jones, just let me know what he don't like and what he's uncomfortable with. So we used them to our advantages, and a lot of times we got him off his spot. He still made plays with his legs, but Coach Matt Patricia did a great job of letting us know what his spot is, and he'd get him off his spot.
You said you were saying they weren't going to back down inside. Was that at halftime?
Halftime. Like, what I'm saying? He was saying, because he's not on the sideline, so when he came in, and he's like, hey, y'all, got to keep playing because this team, go always keep going. So I know when he was in Detroit, we felt the same way. He always made sure that, so he getting letting us know the message.
I know you're out there battling on the outside. Did you have any view of Carter? Jalen Carter had a big sack late. Jordan Davis.
Yeah. I see him going in, man. One thing I say, man, them boys start to run. You know what I'm saying? Secondary, we got to be better. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of great guys in that secondary, man, guys that can make all kind of plays. But them boys up front was really, stopping the run, sticking their nose and doing all that. So I know me and the leadership in the back end, we got to be better, though, because them guys are playing, getting a rush. We was getting screened because of them guys. So we got to be better.
Slay, as a defensive leader, what was your message to the team at halftime?
Just go out here and compete, man. It's never over with. You know, I always going there at halftime. Definitely when we up, if they don't score, they don't win. So we was up 16-0, and I always send that message out to, hey man, if they don't score, they don't win. So let's go out here and just keep dominating and keep playing ball, and always stay laser focused, man, because this game can humble you quick. You know, so it could have got ugly out there quick. You know, up 16-0, come back in the half, them boys 14, it can get out of hand. So we gotta always stay laser focused, stay locked in, and continue to keep making adjustments.
I'm sorry if you were asked that. What went through your mind? What was your reaction when you saw that ball pop out when Jalen got hit?
I mean, it was cool. Like I'm saying, my reaction ain't like, oh my goodness, because I know everybody ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? That guy worked hard as hell each and every day. Everybody makes mistakes. You know what I'm saying? He made a play. They made a play on that team. He trusted his defense to go make a play for him. So we went out there and executed our job. Brought the door up for him. You know, so because he'll do the same for us. We ain't always perfect. He always cover for us too. So we'll cover for him as well. All right.
I just did mine.
4 field goals. You've done that before, but just talk about in the big moment tonight, that 56-yarder especially.
Yeah, man, it's fun being able to go out and just earn it. I mean, you knew coming into this game that this was going to be a battle. It's the reputation the Patriots have coming into week one. It's a hard matchup. So I love having all those opportunities. I know it was a little bit more interesting than we wanted it to be, but that's what I prepare for.
How difficult was it for Aaron holding when it was raining? I know you try to keep the balls dry before the snap, but it's still coming through the rain.
Yeah, it's a tough job. It's a tough job, especially when it's coming down like it was in the first half. So no one I trust more than Rick and Aaron to get that job done, and I trust them.
I always found it, you miss the PAT, right? And then you make 56-yarders, 51, 48. I mean, it's just strange when that happens that way. I mean,
early in the game when it was downpouring like that, it's tough conditions. Everything's got to go just perfect, and those PATs are real kicks now. Those are 33-yard field goals. So, when that stuff's coming down, it's tough. I got to be better. We got to be better.
I know you don't want to place the blame, but it looked like there was a slight bobble. Is that because of the weather?
Yeah.
I'm not
No, I hear you. I really will just have to go look at the film. Timing felt a little off. I could have been on my end. Could have been anywhere. So I'll go back and look at it.
Warm-ups too. What did you see? And was it the wind or was it the what were you just trying to find? What were you figuring out?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff in pregame. You're trying to figure out the wind, how it's bouncing off the stadium walls, how your footing's reacting. So I missed a couple in pregame. I was trying to figure out some stuff on my own, and luckily we did for the most part during the game.
Good. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Jake Elliott had a great game for the Eagles tonight. He went 4 for 4 for his field goals, and in tough conditions. It was downpouring in Foxborough. Always so hard to play in that downpouring rain. And we also heard from Darius Slay, who had an amazing pick-6 play early on in the first quarter. And everybody rejoiced, but Fran Duffy also pointed out that one of our very own called this actually on Eagles game plan. Let's hear it.
This is going to be a game that's won by the defense.
Of course.
This is going to be won by the defense, and I'm calling my shot. Big play Slay, pick 6, game over.
Like Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going Slay with the pick 6.
I like that.
Round of applause for Ike Reese.
Very well done.
They don't pay me for my looks around here.
Look, I know that's right. Look, and that's why you watch Eagles game plan every single week on PhiladelphiaEagles.com and the Eagles mobile app.
You get incredible insight like this, some predictions as well. What made you have a feeling that Slay was going to come up big in this one?
Well, it's funny because I thought it would happen later in the game. I figured the Eagles would get up early, force the Patriots to have to throw the ball, and eventually Mac Jones would overthrow someone or throw a bad pass, and Slay would be able to take advantage of it and take it to the house. It kind of worked out exactly that way. It just happened early in the game. So Slay usually in the right place, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he knows what to do with it. So it's a great job by him.
Yeah, a huge play by Slay, by the defense. And it was just kind of interesting hearing him talk about this game because you would have thought that the Eagles gave up 48 points here. They gave up 20 points, 2 field goals only in the second half. And again, I know it wasn't always pretty. New England was able to string some plays together. They put some drives. They had 5 trips into the red zone. But the Eagles did a nice job of responding well and making sure that they did not put enough points on the board, certainly, to win this game.
Right, New England scored their 2 touchdowns in the second quarter and didn't score another touchdown the rest of the game. And we know Mac Jones is the type of quarterback in his second year. He was pretty good when nobody was pressuring him, but he was almost abysmal when he was put under pressure last year. Yeah. So that was always part of the game plan, at least what we thought was going to be part of the game plan heading into tonight was putting him under pressure and letting him almost make mistakes. How would you evaluate how the defense did in making him play under those pressured moments?
I thought the defense did a nice job for the most part. I think there was some times where there might have been some busted coverage, or you just got to give the Patriots credit where their players made the play. The Hunter Henry touchdown, the touchdown to Kendrick Bourne in the back of the end zone. Like sometimes you just got to give their guys credit for the plays that they make. And here's the other thing. I think you can see the difference of having Bill O'Brien as his offensive coordinator. They put him in a good situation, didn't ask him to do things he's not capable of doing. I think they took shots when it presented itself. Early in the game, there was a lot of quick throws, get the ball out of his hands quick. I think that was by design, and that was sort of to lull the secondary to sleep. And then you saw in that second quarter, they started taking shots down the field. So I think Mac Jones is going to look a lot better this year than he did last year, being reunited with Bill O'Brien, who was also his OC at Alabama. But I thought from a defensive standpoint, it wasn't our best game, but it's hard to sometimes know what you're going to get when it's the first game of the season. There hasn't been enough of footage or film out there on Bill O'Brien leading this offense. And so you're kind of playing defense with one hand.
If we had said on Wednesday or Tuesday, we're shooting Eagles game plan this week that, hey, you know what, Mac Jones is going to throw the ball 54 times. We would have said, that's great.
That's great.
The Eagles, and the Eagles win this game going away probably, but that's a credit to the way that their coaching staff approached this game. And going back to Eagles game plan, that's one of the things we discussed, right? You and Greg Cosell, Mike Quick, John Clark talked about what is going to be their plan of attack for Mac Jones. And again, he threw 54 passes. I mean, Ike, it had to be like 12, 13 screens, right? We saw a bunch of screens, empty sets, get the ball out fast. We saw the RPO game mixed in. So a lot of high percentage type throws for Mac Jones to get the ball out, build confidence, build some momentum there offensively, and then take your shots selectively. And they were able to hit on a couple of them, especially in the first half.
Yeah, the comfortability, as you said, from that Alabama connection he has with Bill O'Brien definitely showed. He definitely didn't look as frazzled as he did in his second season, where you could see the wheels spinning. And when you see the wheels spinning in a quarterback's eyes, it's a little too late at that point.
And I'll tell you what, it also helps him when he goes to the sideline. He has answers ready for him. So when they get over to the sideline, he and Bill O'Brien sit down and they look at the iPad and they're watching these defenses. He's sitting over there with someone who can actually get him through wherever those areas, those gray areas were the previous series. And I think that's what you saw. He started to look better as the game went on more and more. He didn't look as great in that first quarter. He looked a little shook back there. And that's by the time the second quarter came around, you could tell he was a lot more comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, just kind of looking through the numbers because it's always tough to kind of do that live throughout the stream of the game. You asked about the Eagles' run game, and I'm looking at New England's run game. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, 12 carries, 25 yards, 2.1 yards a carry, has a long of 5 yards. I mean, the Eagles were able to contain the run game. Zeke Elliott, his long was 11, and that was on that little funky triple option they ran in the first quarter. So I think when you look at this Eagles' run defense, they did a good job going in, knowing full well that's probably going to be the bread and butter of this offensive attack, was going to be their rushing game. To be able to lock that down, I think, was important to their overall success.
So that was the key for the Eagles' overall success for sure, was defending that run game. And Nick Sirianni is heading to the podium right now, so let's hear what Coach has to say after this one.
Oh, all right. It's tough to win.
Okay, you are.
I'm great. Come out of here with a win. Shoot. Start us off, Jeff.
Yeah, so Was offensively, was it the Patriots or was it you guys?
Yeah, I think that's a good defense. That's a really good defense. They're really well coached. There's a couple that I've seen Smitty little throws on the sideline where I've seen Smitty get out of those and spin out of those, and they made really good tackles. That team, I mean, Bill Belichick coach team. It's going to be well coached, and I thought that's exactly what it was. Now, was it our cleanest performance offensively? No. We have a lot of mistakes to clean up, and we got a short time to do so. But I thought that we just didn't finish some drives. We got in a rut a little bit in the second quarter, and then didn't finish some drives late in the game. And Jake did a really good job of, we had a lot of confidence in Jake to kick the field goals to put us up a couple scores. But I just ton of respect. There's a lot of good players on that Patriot defense also. Starting with Judon and they all play really solid football. I got a lot of respect for that team.
You mentioned the rut there in the second quarter. It seemed pretty run heavy at that time. Was that part of the rut? What was the thing
that we ran?
Just. It was
it was hard. It was hard to get. It was just hard. We weren't winning on first down, and we were getting ourselves into second down, and that's on everybody, right? That's on the us putting in the play. First and foremost, us putting the players in position to succeed, and then us being able to execute. And so the rut was just that we weren't winning on first and second down, and getting ourselves in the third down, and not manageable. And so again, some of it was. The run game and some of it was the pass game. And it was I think it was equally, I got to look at the game, obviously, to have a better answer for you. But I thought it was a little bit of both, that we struggled in both parts of that game right there. And again, like I said, it starts with us, myself and Brian, putting them in the right positions to succeed.
What was behind the decision to sit down and make Rashad Penny inactive today?
There was just a number count. I mean, you saw that, I don't ever want to come out of a game where DeAndre Swift has only 2 touches either. And so, we were where we were with numbers and some of the things. Our first 3 guys through camp are those 3 guys that dressed. And so, like I said, with Boston, to have 4 backs up when Boston and Rashad, and DeAndre both only had 1 carry, we got to play that number game.
You mentioned Swift. Goddard only had 1 target. Were they doing something to take him away, or was he just not part of things?
Sometimes it's going to. This reminds me a lot of last year against the Lions. Smitty had no catches against the Lions last year. This year it was Dallas. We can't go a game without getting him the football. He's too good of a playmaker. But there were some things that the Patriots did that made it difficult for us to be able to get him some quick, easy touches. So that happens. And so some of the plays that you think that you can get easy touches for your guys, quick, don't necessarily happen for your backs and tight ends when you play a Patriot-style defense. And so, again, hats off to them. They made it hard for us to get the ball to our playmakers, and that's what a defense like that usually does, is try to take away your good playmakers. So we had to get it to the other guys.
Ryan, how did he do as a first time play call?
I thought he was awesome. I thought he adjusted. We're always taught. Communication was great. I didn't feel the operation problems on the offensive side. We had some operation problems elsewhere, which I'm sure you all will ask me about. But I thought Brian was Brian's cool and calm and just got a great demeanor about himself. I thought he called a great game. I thought he, made some adjustments in the second half to throw it a little bit more, knowing that we were struggling in the run game. And that was, we're gonna, if we throw it 20 times in a row, it's because that's what we think the right thing to do. If we run it 20 times in a row, that's what we think the right things to do. And Brian, and that's conviction. And I thought Brian had conviction today, and I was really happy with the way he performed. Brian performed as the offense coordinator today.
Nick,
I'm coming to you today.
Jalen has not played in a real game since February 12th. Do you think that had anything to do? We know he's better than that, what he was today. Do you think that had anything to do with it kind of shaking off?
I'll definitely reevaluate some of the preseason stuff next year. I know they played the first 2 years that we were here. They only played 1 series against the Jets in 2022. Maybe I should have played them, a series or 2 this preseason, and I already wrote that in my notes. And I'm constantly self-evaluating myself, and and I'm not promising anything. And I know y'all will remember this conversation and play it, and that's okay. But I have to. I'll reevaluate that. And second thought, if I had to do it over again right now, I would say, I would have played the starters 1 or 2 drives in the preseason. But next year will be a new thing with new situations and new everything. So I'm not worrying about that right now. I just got it in my notes to think about right now, though.
On the 4th and 2 at the 2-minute mark, what made you want to keep your offense on the field, and why was that the play call?
Yeah, again, we just try to give them options in situations like that. I guess really the word again I'm going to say is conviction. Conviction that our offense is going to succeed. Conviction that we'll call the right play to put them in position to make a play, and conviction if we don't that our defense will get a stop. It was a little bit. I know I'm going to hear it from my dad when I get on the phone with him when we land in Philadelphia and I'm driving back to my home. I'm going to call my dad. I'm going to wake him up, and I know exactly what he's going to say. That would the exact question you just asked me right there. So I better have an answer for him too. Yeah, it is. It is. I was convicted there. It didn't work. It didn't work. Sometimes that's going to happen. That you make that call that you feel good about, but it's about the process that you put to get to that position. That there wasn't a hesitation in my mind because we've put ourselves in that scenario in the film room all week. We didn't execute. On second thought, we got to get them in a little bit better play. We're always going to look at ourselves first. But I was convicted in that. Kind of like I was convicted in accepting the penalty on 4th down when it was 4th and 11 to put them back because I didn't want them to get points on the board. That would have gave them 3 potentially right there. If I make that call, pull them back in the 3rd and 20, and they convert, I'm the dumbest coach in the world. If they don't convert, I'm the smartest coach in the world. So I understand that. And so it's always about conviction. And it's always about I can look myself in the mirror knowing that I've put myself in those scenarios. Us as a staff have put ourselves in those scenarios and thought through those things so we don't make gut knee-jerk reactions in a game. So I do feel good about that preparation and that process.
You were aggressive there, but it seemed like on some 3rd downs you weren't aggressive. Run calls.
Yeah, that's not necessarily true. Like a run call can be aggressive. It doesn't have to be a pass to be aggressive. And so I actually think calling a run play in a 3rd and 8 situation is aggressive. It's not the what's the word? It's not common. That's not the word I was looking for. Yeah, that was an easy one. I'm thinking of another word. It's unique, but we thought we were aggressive with that style of play that we ran in that scenario. So I respectfully disagree with not being aggressive. We just thought it was the right call for that scenario, Jeff.
Burn a timeout in the first half.
Yeah,
to get.
I hate that.
What did you?
It was operation that we need to clean up. You're not going to come out and play your cleanest game. We talked about it an awful lot, but we had some mistakes, and that's on us as coaches. And anytime you have to burn a timeout like that with the guys down in the field, because we didn't start as coaches communication first, and that's always there. Don't look at anybody else but me in that. Don't look at Sean Desai. Don't look at the defensive coaches. Don't look at the offensive coaches. Don't look at the special teams coaches. That's always on me because it starts with me telling them, hey, we're kicking it. Hey, we're punting it. Hey, we're going for a field goal. That's always anytime something like that happens, it's on me. Now I get upset with myself and I might be yelling it up, but that's always on me in those scenarios. And it was in this case. I actually had to do it twice, so I'm kicking myself about that, and I'll make sure that I'm working my butt off to fix that.
All right. How do you think that?
Go ahead, Ed.
Thanks. How do you think the defense looked? I mean, a lot of new starters, new faces.
Anytime you create 2 turnovers that lead to 14 points, that's big time, right? That's the difference in the game, right? Jordan making that great play on the screen, and then also the coverage that happened and the pressure that happened on the interception for a touchdown that Slay finished. Slay's got a great knack to get the ball and finish plays like that. And so obviously we had a lot to clean up on all phases, but I was pleased with the defense and the pressure that we got, and it was. There was some Mac Jones, I thought, did a really nice job, and Bill O'Brien again. So much respect for Coach O'Brien. Man, I've seen him call plays for a long time, being in that division, and I just think he's an outstanding play caller. And he did a good job of, getting the ball out of Mac's hands, and Mac did a good job of seeing it. But where I was really excited was, there was a couple times there I'm like, we got to get to this quarterback at some point. And then, in 2 of the biggest moments in the game, we did. And so, but that's the waves that we can come out at with the defensive line. So great job by them. Also, great job by us to get to the quarterback when we needed to. Yeah.
All right, guys.
A lot of great takeaways from head coach Nick Sirianni, and maybe the biggest one is that the word of the day is conviction, having conviction and belief in the team, that putting them in the right position to get the job done, but if it can't get done, knowing that the defense can also step up big. So always good to hear from head coach. Also always love hearing that accountability Nick Sirianni brings to his team and holding himself accountable for all sorts of things. So we heard from head coach, but we know everyone at home wants to hear a little more from Ike, and we have our first Ask Ike question. So let's see what the people want to know, Ike. How do you always look so fly?
Oh, wow.
Wow, this is an in-depth analysis.
I promise you, I didn't ask it.
Did you ask that question?
No, I did not ask it this time.
Did you write that question? Was this asked by Ike for Ike?
And after looking at Eagles social media yesterday, believe me, I didn't always dress this well. As I was reminded yesterday, I don't know. I think over the years I've added a little bit of taste. I got my own flavor, obviously, but then I look at certain guys. I won't say who, but I look at certain guys. And, whether it's players or whether it's commentators on television or what have you, and there's some things I can take a little bit from everybody and, like I said, add my own little flavor to it.
So this is Ike's 12th year doing Eagles game plan, our 12th year working on Eagles game plan together, and it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I said, Ike, like, your suits weekly, like, you are on point. and he started getting mad at me because he what are you trying to say? Like, I haven't been good for the last
what are you trying to say? I was bad prior to this?
Is there a formula to put the outfit together? I think that's what people want to know.
You know
they
what?
want advice.
There is. I think how I feel that day and how the weather is. So I had a different suit earlier, but all of the rain made me change to gray. So I had more of a lighter green suit to kind of go, but then I was like, it's raining outside, it's a gray day, so I decided to go with the gray, and I thought the green tie would pop there, so,
We've been spending too much time together because that's why I went gray suits.
I know, see? I mean, listen.
And then here's the photo.
Oh, Lord. Oh, y'all did
You're
that
also
to
in
me.
a gray,
Come on,
let me
man.
point out, that is a gray plaid suit and a very different look than the one you are wearing today.
Hold on, let me tell you the worst thing about that whole picture. It's two things. A, that jacket is terrible. But B, that piece of luggage in my right hand, what is that? I don't even know what is that? Is that a suitcase?
I don't know, but you could have stuffed it under your jacket and carried it with you there. There's enough space in that jacket.
What year is this, by the way? What year is that? That's going to be
gotta
early
be like
2000s.
01, 02.
Yeah,
The bigger suits were in, But I got to be honest with you. That came off a rack from somewhere. That jacket came off a rack.
That does not look tailored. I'll give you that.
That's not a tailored suit. That came off a rack.
But that was the thing. Like, you weren't getting ragged on about that.
No, that's the whole
That
thing.
was the look.
Well, here's the thing. See, when you're not with the big money guys, you can't get tailor-made suits.
Sure.
But I wanted to make sure, and I'm also my size, I can buy off the rack. So I was, although that doesn't look like it, but that probably came from either a big and tall store or K&G.
Okay.
One or the other. Either way, that jacket is burned a long time ago.
Oh, man.
And that mock turtleneck got burned.
That is not in the rotation anymore. The mock neck.
What was in my pocket? Like, go. I don't
Looked
think
like an index card, to be honest.
No, it was not a handkerchief. It was per diem.
Yeah. Even better.
They used to give you an envelope
Yep.
when you got on the plane with your per diem when we did road trips.
I
I
hope you saved
I
that.
stuffed it right in the pocket.
I hope you saved it to buy another new mock turtleneck.
Oh my gosh. I think we should bring back the mock turtleneck this year. I think everybody wants to see it.
Thank you to whoever runs the account because yesterday was horrible for me. Yeah. I had to. The kids saw it. Like, my kids saw it. Yeah, that was bad.
That's so good.
I was the worst of the group that we showed yesterday.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
were.
Of the old.
Yes, you were.
Even I can admit it. I was the worst of the group.
That's so good. I don't
That's
even know
saying a
what-
lot because I've seen some of Donovan's suits. Yeah, so that says a lot that my suit was worse than his.
Is there somebody on the team now whose style that you're like, that's
Oh, you
that's
kidding
mine?
me? QB1 and Devontae Smith.
Devontae,
I mean, Devontae Smith, I think, is the best dresser on the team. Yeah, by far.
Those guys make calls that I could never make. Like they
Yeah.
make it work. And we talk
Yeah.
about that almost
Well,
weekly
Devontae
last
Smith
year.
had a touchdown. We actually have some sound from the locker room, him talking about his touchdown celebration.
He said he gave you some advice, right? Parenting advice?
Yeah, I told him to nap when baby.
All right, well, that wasn't Devontae Smith. That was A.J. Brown. But we're going to get that sound from Devontae Smith, clean that up just a bit. But, yeah, because Devontae Smith had a good start to the game for sure. He showed off why he's that explosive type receiver downfield. And we got our first look at both new coordinators for the Eagles, Brian Johnson, Sean Desai. What would you say are the starting building blocks that you were seeing from both of them?
Well, I'll start on the defensive side of the ball. You can start up front. We have a plethora of talent on that defensive line, young and veterans. Fletcher Cox, first game of the season, he made some flash plays out there today. Jalen Carter got his first sack of today, big sack late in the game. We talk about the lack of running game from the New England Patriots. Well, it starts with those guys up front in the way that they play. And here's something else I saw from Sean Desai late in this game when the Patriots were trying to move the ball down the field. It wasn't just, okay, let them catch the ball in front of you and we come up and make the tackle. I saw a couple of times where there were pressures, linebacker pressure, safety pressure. So I think Sean Desai gave us a nice mix of what he's going to be like as the DC today.
Yeah, and for the fans that have wanted more of that pressure, look, that could be a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
They were able to convert on a couple of those third long blitzes, right? So you get a little bit of both there, but I agree. I think seeing that extra pressure from the linebacker level, you saw Nakobe Dean and Christian Ellis and Zach Cunningham factor in. We saw some DB pressures as well, guys coming in late. So I think that's something certainly to monitor moving forward with this defense. And I think offensively, look, we saw a lot of these in-breakers. We saw A.J. Brown on a lot of those in-breaking routes that he was so good at in Tennessee, and continuing just to kind of harp on the run game and the pass game all being married together. I think that's going to be one of the strengths of this offense moving forward.
Speaking of A.J. Brown, we actually have A.J. Brown from the locker room talking about Devontae Smith's touchdown celebration.
Yeah, that's big, man. It's big when you got guys just growing up and you see them, grow in different parts of their life other than other than on the field. Him becoming a father, that's huge, man. Because I have two of my own, and I just know the feeling. He was excited. Of course he was gonna get in the end zone. It just works like that. When somebody have a child, they're gonna get in the end zone. So
So we love a good touchdown celebration, especially when it's a beautiful meeting like this. He's becoming a new dad, and he's incorporating that into his touchdown celebration. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he saved that first touchdown of the season for his. Is it a boy or a girl? Do we know?
I actually don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
So if he's a new dad, I'm pretty sure that touchdown ball is going home. But just listening to AJ, it just takes me back to how fortunate we are to have two caliber receivers that we have on this football team. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Fran mentioned some of the different routes AJ was running. You could tell this is a complete package wide receiver.
Yeah, a lot of options for Jalen Hurts, who is at the podium.
I think, first and foremost, I think that's a great win, a great win for us, being able to be resilient. Obviously, for me, winning is the only thing that matters. And that's something that I've always said all the time. And so that's the mentality right now, and that will always be the mentality. Winning is the only thing that matters. I think we obviously have things that we need to work on. I have to be better in those situations when the ball is in my hand, and I take full accountability for that. But the good thing about it is we get the opportunity to play on Thursday.
How did it go with first time live with Brian calling the plays?
Yeah. I think Brian did a great job. I think for us, I've said these things throughout training camp, and I've made that clear of us searching for an identity and us trying to find that identity, and that's something that we're navigating, and that is something that happens when you have different roles and new guys and new places and new faces. But we're going to continue to grow. It's easy for us to grow, and always better when you win. And so, give a lot of credit to Jake Elliott. I don't like him kicking. But, he showed up and he made big time plays all night for us. That was huge. And then our defense, how they played and how they were able to turn the ball over and get points for us, that was huge as well. So a lot to clean up, obviously, but always good to have a lot to clean up when you win, and I'll reiterate, winning is the only thing that matters.
They're doing it kind of took Dallas away from you. It didn't seem like, you didn't really get any targets until the fourth quarter.
Well, I think for us, and I think as an offense, right, you try not to let the conditions of the game deter you from playing a certain type of way. And I just think for us, we just want to execute at a high level. You got different guys getting opportunities to make plays, and some guys, it may not seem as much. So, but ultimately, when you have an opportunity to make a play, take advantage of it. And so there's a lot to grow from in that, and there's a lot for me to personally grow from as well, too, to continue to be a point guard of the offense.
How challenging was it? A lot of the disguising maybe that they were doing on defense, was it even more of a challenge?
I think they're a really good defense. You get teams that, that's what the NFL is. The NFL is a huge league of disguises, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So for us, I don't think it's necessarily about anyone else. It's about us and how we control the things that we can, and that's always been the reality for us. So we got to be able to execute at a better level and a higher level, and we have to be more efficient.
And I know you took a couple big hits in this game. How'd you come out of it physically?
I'm ready for Thursday.
On third downs in particular, 4 of 13 tonight. What was the issue on third
What was
downs?
that?
On third downs in particular, you guys were 4 of 13. What was the issue?
We didn't get the first down. I think that's the biggest issue. And those things look different. Those things look different every time you have an opportunity to convert. And we didn't do enough tonight. But we won. And again, winning is the only thing that matters.
Nick said just prior to when you came in about he's going to reevaluate his approach to the preseason next year and maybe play you guys a little bit more in games.
It's a long time from now. I could care less about that. We won the game. It's a long time from now. We got a game Thursday, and we're eager to prepare for that one.
But my question would be, do you feel like that might have helped a little bit had you guys gotten some game action?
It's over now. It's over now. Would've, could've, should've. We won, and winning is the only thing that matters.
How meaningful was it to throw that touchdown to Devontae after he had his first child before leaving to come here?
It was a very, very nice moment. Very nice moment for him, and obviously he's a big time player, but even better person. So I can only imagine how great of a father he'll be.
You guys were very run-heavy early in this game. Was that kind of what you guys came into the game thinking you'd emphasize?
I think the rain had a little bit to do with that.
Let's take a few more. Anything? Okay. Thanks, Joe.
All about controlling the controllables for Jalen Hurts and company. QB1 had an okay game to start off this season, and as he said, a lot to grow from as the team goes forward. Now we're going to take a look, however, at the Rico review for this week, because Fran Duffy broke down one of the best defensive plays we saw early on in this matchup.
All right, so the Eagles jump out to an early 2-touchdown lead thanks to the defense here in this game against the Patriots. And this week here on the Rico review, I want to take a look at the play that sets up their second touchdown, a forced fumble by second-year defensive tackle Jordan Davis in the screen game, and this thing is a thing of beauty. Let's take a look at what happens here. New England's going to run a double screen where they're going to bring the receiver inside in short motion, and Mac Jones is going to turn and pretend to throw the ball here, but the ball's actually going to go to the running back, Zeke Elliott, who is going to chip on the defensive end and release. Now, I want you to watch what happens as we let this roll. The Eagles' defensive line, when they come off the ball, they feel a little bit of no resistance from the Patriots, and they feel immediately this is going to be a screen. Watch the reaction here from Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox, and most importantly, Jordan Davis, because all three of these players are going to retrace, because if you can't get home to the quarterback, well, then you got to go make a play on the screen. And so I want you to watch as Davis, Cox, and Reddick all put their foot in the ground and retrace back to find the football. And Davis does an outstanding job of clubbing this ball to the ground. We can let this roll. Mac Jones gets the ball out to Zeke Elliott, makes a nice catch, but Davis is able to get the ball out. You saw Reddick there. You saw Zach Cunningham there. You saw Fletcher Cox come in late. So yeah, it ends up being Cunningham who gets to this football. He gets the fumble recovery, but if he's not there, Reddick's there, Cox is there. Just an outstanding play from this Eagles defense. Great pursuit from the backside. Outstanding punch out from Jordan Davis. Good play recognition by a bunch of the guys up front. This is a really, really well-rounded play here from the Eagles defense.
Player of the week, go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. here are your options for the Toyota Player of the Week. Up first, we have A.J. Brown, 7 receptions tonight for 79 total yards. 23 yards was his longest. That was the longest for the entire team as well. After that, we have Jake Elliott. He went 4 for 4 on his field goals. He hit a 56-yarder, contributed to 13 points for the team. And finally, it is Big Play Slay with this pick 6. I mean, beautiful. Not only did Ike Reese call it, but everybody else was just absolutely losing their minds in the first quarter after this play. He also had 3 tackles on this one. So those are your options: A.J. Brown, Jake Elliott, and Darius Slay. Fellas, what do you make of the options everybody has for Player of the Week?
Well, I know where I'm not going. That's the offensive side of the ball. So it's got to either be Jake Elliott or Big Play Slay. And since I predicted Big Play Slay would get a pick 6, I got to go with Big Play Slay as my player of the game.
Look, for everybody that watched this show last year, you know that this guy always picked offensive players. I just want to make sure I just want to make sure that that's out there. I do agree with you. I will go with Big Play Slay. No Jordan Davis, though. That would be the guy that I would throw on there. I just got done breaking down that forced fumble. I thought Jordan Davis was really, really strong today.
What specifically, I know you just broke down his great play, but what specifically showed up that maybe won't show up on film but just caught your eye?
Well, some of that stuff, he's setting up plays for others, right? But what I liked most in this game, Marisa, was that he made some plays on his own, right? If you go into the box score, you go into the play-by-play, you're going to see a lot of times where he is the sole stopper on the run play to the inside, where Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke Elliott are running into a brick wall. He was in on a sack late in the fourth quarter, one of the biggest plays of the game to kind of derail that drive. We saw the forced fumble. I thought Jordan Davis was all over the field. I mean, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, the way that those guys played, something tells me I'm going to be breaking down some plays for those guys in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I really think this was Jordan's best game as a pro. I really do.
When
you think about, he flashed all game, so he certainly was out there, showed high energy. You know, the big thing with him was, okay, his stamina. Can he give you the same effort late in the game that he gives you early in the game? I thought today he showed that. You see a different player than what we saw last year. And last year, we didn't see a bad player. We saw a rookie who was learning. This year, you see a difference maker. I thought in the running game, and he even made plays in the passing game. Got a half a sack, and he forced a fumble on that screen.
How about some of the rookies, too, that showed up today? What did you think of their first time out in the limelight? This is a big ask for these rookies. Not only you have to show up for a Super Bowl, a team that went to the Super Bowl, but you're showing up to ruin Tom Brady Day.
I mean, how about Sidney Brown? On punt coverage as a gunner.
That hit,
Josh
right?
Jobe had another one as well. He's not a rookie, but both those guys showing up on special teams. I loved seeing that flash there from Sidney Brown. We got the feeling, Marisa, you and I joked while we watched it, he's been waiting all summer for that opportunity because this guy's been flying like a heat-seeking missile to the football. So just getting that chance to finally lay his helmet on somebody, I think that felt good.
Sidney Brown looked shot out of a cannon on that play, but we love to see it. Here's a look at the road ahead for the Eagles. We know it's going to be a quick turnaround, so let's turn our eyes to the Jameson nightcap as we turn our attention to the Minnesota Vikings, who lost their opener against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today at home. So here's a look at their record from last year, and now they are 0-1 to start the 2023 season. Kirk Cousins, 33 for 44, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And what's interesting is Justin Jefferson, no touchdowns, and not a lot of looks from him.
Yeah, he had a big day in the first half, yardage-wise. Didn't get the touchdown late in that game. We played these guys' second game of the season last year as well. They're coming off a loss. They'll be game. They'll be ready to go. But something about playing in primetime games for my man Kirk Cousins. He just does not typically do well. And opening game at home for these Eagles, yeah. And the good thing about today's game is that the Eagles are happy they got the win for sure, but they know they didn't play their best game. They're going to want to put their best foot forward come Thursday.
Yeah, there's meat left on the bone for certain. And this is going to be a new-look team from Minnesota coming in to Lincoln Financial Field on Thursday. It's not the same one from last year. We know Dalvin Cook no longer there in Minnesota, so offensively there's going to be some changes. Defensively, they went from soft umbrella zone coverage to we're going to play a lot of man and we are going to blitz you with Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator. So I would expect, honestly, a lot of what we saw tonight from the New England Patriots, they're going to try and replicate that here in Minnesota. Flores coached under Bill Belichick, so it's going to be a lot of similar game planning, I think, what you'll see on Thursday night.
It's going to be exciting here in South Philly because the link is going to be absolutely rocking for the Eagles home opener against the Minnesota Vikings. Thank you so much for joining us for Eagles postgame presented by Rico. For Ike Reese and Fran Duffy, I'm Marisa Pilla. Go Birds, and we'll see you Thursday night.